Hi and welcome to Tea and Yoga 5. We're going to start laying on our backs in this one and just bringing our feet to the ends of the mat, bringing our hands down by the sides of the body. Take a little rock of the hips from side to side and then push into the heels, lift the bums, tuck the tailbone down and release those bums back down towards the mat. Take a close of the eyes, take a scan of the body from the top of the head down to the fingertips, down to the toes. And I'll just give you a couple of minutes to do so. Just checking in with how that body feels. When you've taken that scan of the body, bring the attention to the breath and just notice how that breath feels for you as you've arrived in practice. Not trying to change it, just being aware of how it enters and exits that body. Start to breathe those breaths a little deeper now, letting them blow that belly up like a balloon on the inhale. And as you exhale, that belly drops back towards the spine. Everything relaxes back down to the mat. Starting to expand the rib cage as well as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, let everything relax, everything to soften. And start to bring one knee at a time in towards the chest. Just take a hold of the knees, squeeze them in towards the ribs. Maybe just have a little rock of that body from side to side. And then taking a hold of the creases of the knees and start to rock up and down that spine a few times. Massaging all those muscles that lead up and down that spine to support it, the erector spinae muscles. The next time you come up to seated, wrap the toes under, bring the hands forward, step the feet back to a plank and just hold it there for a couple of breaths. Push the heels back, crown forward, relax through the shoulders, push the chest into the back of the body and squeeze that belly back towards the spine. Paddle the feet as you start to lift up the hips, moving those hips from side to side, giving that head a nod and a shake. And we're going to make our way back to seated again. So either swing the legs around or step one foot forward first, then the other. Bring the sit bones down. Bring the feet out in front and find that bow position. Relax the shoulders back. Then rock up and down that spine again a couple of times. When you next come to seated, tuck the feet under, bring the hands forward and step back to a plank position. Hold it here for a couple of breaths. Have those fingers nice and wide. Push into that floor. Push the heels back. Lift the kneecaps by engaging those thighs. Then start to paddle the feet as you lift back up the hips. Then squeeze the heels back. Then make your way back to a seat. So maybe step the other foot forward this time. Bring the sit bones down and find that balancing point on the sit bones and that lower part of the spine. This time straighten the right leg and release. Straighten the left leg and release. Bring the hands to the creases, rock up and down twice. Up to seated once. Up to seated twice, fold the feet under, bring the hands forward, step back to a plank position. Nice wide hands. Push into those toes. Push the chest into the back of the body. Then paddle the feet as you lift up those hips. Squeezing that chest back. Then bringing those heels to stillness. Step back forward again to bring yourself to a seat. Bring the feet forward, find that balancing point. Release the hands if you wish. Straighten up one leg. Straighten up the other. Hold it here for a couple of breaths. Then take a hold of the creases of the knees. Rock up and down that spine. Twice. Then make your way back to plank, tucking the feet under or swinging the legs around. And hold it in plank for a couple of breaths. Start to paddle those feet as you lift up those hips. And then squeeze those heels back. Your breath in, raise up with that right leg. Your breath out, bring the knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step that right foot through. Drop down the back knee and curl the back toes. Swing the arms out, around and up to our low lunge position. Relax the shoulders, lengthen the arms. Hold it here for one more breath. Then bring the arms down and to the outside of that right foot. Walk them back towards that left knee. Bring the toes back to the shins. The hips in the centre of the mat. Breathe in, lengthen the spine. Breathe out, fold over that leg. Walk the hands back towards that right foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Send the right foot back to meet the left. Lift the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Bring yourself into a seat. Either swing the legs around or step the opposite foot forward, then the other. Find that balancing point. Release the hands. Maybe lift the feet if you wish. Maybe lift the arms. One more breath here. Release down. Tuck the toes under. Step back to a plank. Hold it in plank for a couple of breaths. Then lift the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Next breath in, raise the left leg. Bring the knee to the chest. Step that left foot through. Drop down that back knee and uncurl those toes. Bring the arms round and up to the ceiling, to your low lunge. Relax the shoulders down, lengthen the arms. Try and bring those arms back as far as you can, out of the gaze of the side. Bring the hands down. Walk them back towards the right knee. Bring those left toes back to the shins. Breathe in, lengthen the spine. Breathe out, fold over that left leg. Walk the hands back towards that left foot. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Step back to plank. Hold it there for a breath. Then paddle those feet as you lift up through those hips. Making your way back onto your bum, so either swing the legs around or bring both feet back forward. Sit the bum in the centre and find a balancing point. Lift up the legs. Maybe release the hands. Remember, all of these are progressions. You don't have to go for the next move. Lift the feet. Bring the hands to the chest. Turn to the left. Back to the centre. Turn to the right. Back to the centre. Release the hands. Tuck the feet under. Step back to a plank. Hold it here for a breath. Paddle the feet as you lift up through those hips. So we're going to do another 2 poses on both sides. Your breath in raises up the right leg. Your breath out brings that knee to the chest. Gaze in between the hands as we step the right foot through. Staying off the back knee this time, raise the hands to the ceiling. Hold it here, straighten out that back leg. Tether the ribs and hips towards each other. Sink into that right knee. Then drop that back heel. Right hand forward, left hand back. Taking it into warrior 2. Squeeze the bum down and under the belly back. Lengthen through the waist, relax through the shoulders. Bring the hands down either side of that right foot. Step back to a plank. Lift the hips and squeeze the heels back. Coming into a seat, either swing the legs around, come onto the bum. Find your balancing point. Choices, remember, can be to stay here and balance. If you want to come with me, raise the hands. Maybe raise those legs. Hold it here for another breath. Then bring the hands forward, interlace the fingers. Arms to the right, feet to the left. Back to the centre, feet to the left. Sorry, hands to the left, feet to the right. Back to the centre. Release the feet. Tuck them under. Step back to a plank. Hold it in plank for a couple of breaths. Lift the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Take a little nod and shake of the head before we take it onto the opposite side. Your left leg lifts. Bring the knee to the chest. Step that left foot through, help it through if you need to with that left hand. Stabilise the feet, raise the arms up to our crescent lunge. Try and bring those ribs and hips towards each other. Straighten the back leg as much as you can and bend into that left knee as deep as you can go. Then find warrior 2. Right hand back, left hand forward. Sink into those hips. Grow out of the waist. Grow up through the crown. Tuck the bum down, belly back. Arms wide to the front and back of the mat. And the shoulders relaxed. Windmill the hands down either side of that left foot. Step that left foot back to a plank. Lift the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Make your way to a seat. Either jumping one leg through and then the other. Find your balancing point and relax those shoulders down. Release the hands. Go into a low bow. Back up into high bow. Back into low bow. Up into high bow. And back into low bow. Back into high bow. Tuck the feet under. And step back to plank. And hold it here for a couple of breaths. Paddle the feet and lift up the hips. Squeeze those heels back. Come down onto the knees. Knees under the hips, heel of the hands under the shoulders. And rock that body from side to side. Turn the fingertips out to the edges of the mat. And then turn the fingers, if it's available in the wrists, to point towards the knees. Rock forwards and backwards over those wrists. Then bring yourself back, fingertips to the edges, rock from side to side. Fingertips back to the front. Reach the hands forward and let the chest drop. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Tuck under those toes. Lift the knees to hover and push those heels back. Squeeze the belly. Tuck the tailbone down. Push the chest into the back of the body. Then lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Come down back to a hover, knees hovering off the floor. Push that chest away from the mat. Tuck that tailbone down. Lift the hips, squeeze those heels back. Have a little nod and a shake of those hips. Your next breath in, raise up with that right leg. Bring the knee into the chest. Step that right foot through. Help it through if you need to. Drop the back heel, left hand comes up and over. Reach forward with the right palm. Take it into reverse warrior. Left hand down the back of the left leg. Right knee stays bent and turned out to the right side of the mat, and the gaze is up towards that right palm. Breathing into that rib cage on the right side of the body. Then bring that right forearm onto the top of the right thigh. Left arm scoops up and over, pointing towards the front of the mat. Shoulders are turned to the left. Right bum cheek tucks under, left hip turns out. One more breath here. Then release that left hand down, right hand down. Step back to plank. Then lift up the hips, paddle the feet. Then make your way to a seat. Either swing the legs around or jump the feet forward. And then find that balancing point. Widen the arms and lift up through the chest. Raise through the feet or keep those knees bent. Gaze up towards the ceiling. One more breath here. Then take a bend back into the knees. Tuck the feet under or swing the legs around. Bring the hands forward. Step the feet back to a plank. Paddle those feet as you lift up through those hips. Squeeze those heels down. Lift up with the left leg. Bring that knee into the chest. Gaze in between the hands as you step that left foot through. Drop down with the back heel, windmill the right arm up and over. Reach forward with the left palm, send it up to the ceiling. Right hand down the back of the right leg. Look up into that left palm, sink into that left knee. And breathe into that rib cage on the left side. Then bring that left forearm onto the top of the left thigh. Right arm reaches up, then over to the front of the mat. Sink down in the hips, turn the right hip out, tuck the left hip under. Right shoulder stacks on top of the left. Push the energy into the outside of that back foot and to the whole of the front foot, stabilising into that floor. Then bring both hands down either side of that left foot. Step the left foot back to a plank. Hold it here for a breath. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Nod and shake of the head. Then step yourself forward, bring the bums to the mat or swing the legs around to the side and find that balancing point. Roll the shoulders back. Bring the elbows to the inside of the knees and take a hold of the outsides of the feet. Either stay here in the balance, or if you wish to take both legs nice and straight, lifting up through the chest, rolling the shoulders back, breathing nice and deeply into the belly, expanding the belly on the inhale and retracting it back on the exhale. Take a bend into both knees. Tuck the feet under or swing them around. Bring the hands forward and step the feet back to a plank. Paddle those feet as you lift up those hips. Having a little nod and shake of those heads. Squeezing those heels back. Coming down onto the knees, bring the big toes together, sit bones to the heels, foreheads to the mat, and just allow that body to settle between those thighs. Take a couple of restorative breaths before we take you into your balance. Our balance will be staff pose and aeroplane pose, transitioning between those two. One more breath here. Make your way back into downward facing dog. Tucking the toes under, lifting the hips, squeezing those heels back. Your next breath in raises the right leg. Brings the knee to the chest. Stepping the right foot through. Bring the hands to the hips and lift the shoulders over those hips. Step forward onto that right foot. Bring the left knee through to hip height. Roll the shoulders back. Breathe in, lengthen up through the arms. Breathe out, aeroplane arms sending back that left heel and the torso to come in line with the floor. Lift that body, bring that knee back through, straighten up through the arms. And then take it back, aeroplane pose. Pushing that left heel back. Hips stay in line, pelvis nice and neutral. Lift back up. Raise the hands, raise the left knee. Then take it back, aeroplane pose. Lift back up into staff. Maybe this time straighten the leg. Then bring the hands back down to the floor. Lift the left leg to the ceiling. Take a bend into your right knee. Step the left foot back. Step the right foot back to meet the left. Lift the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Have a nod and shake of those heads. Bringing yourself into that balance on the bums, so stepping the feet forward or swinging the legs around. Bring the bums into the centre, find the balance between those sit bones and lower spines. Cross the feet over, bring the palms together at the chest. Lengthen up through the legs, lengthen up through the arms. So this one, the left foot is over the right. Hold it here for one more breath. Then bring the feet down, tuck them under, bring the feet forward, step back to a plank. Hold it there for a breath. Lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back. Take a little paddle and a nod and shake of the head before we take that standing balance onto that left side. Breath in, raise the left leg. Bring the knee to the chest and step that left foot through. Bring the hands to the hips, lift the shoulders over those hips. Step forward onto the left foot, bring that right knee through. Breath in, raise the arms. Breath out, aeroplane pose. Hands go behind, right heel pushes back. Inhale, lift the hands, lift the right knee forward. Exhale, send it back. Aeroplane pose, chest comes parallel to the floor. Breath in, raise, lift the leg, lift the arms. Breath out, aeroplane pose. Breath in, lift. Bring that right knee through. Then maybe straighten that right leg. Hold it there for a breath. Then bring the hands down, raise the right leg to the ceiling, standing splits. Step the right foot back, the left foot back to meet the right. Hold it in plank for a breath. Lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Take a paddle through those feet. And then step yourself through, bring yourself to a seat. Find that balancing point. Bring the hands out in front of you. Slowly lower to a low boat. And hold it in low boat for a couple of breaths. Keep squeezing that belly back, relaxing through the shoulders, keeping those legs slightly lifted away from the floor and the shoulders lifted. One more breath here, and then let everything release to the floor. Bring the hands down and out to a T shape. Take a bend into both knees. Just slightly bring the hips over to the right side. Bring the knees over to the left side. Take a hold of the big toe on the right foot. And then straighten that right leg out as much as you can. It may be that you only get to a slight bend. But if you can encourage it to fully straight, that's great. But if not, don't try and force it. Those hamstrings might be a little tight. That right shoulder stays down, maybe the gaze towards that right hand. Holding it here for another couple of breaths. Stretching through the outside of the thigh, contracting through those inner parts of the thighs. Full wringing of the spine, working that digestive system. Take a bend back into that right knee. Bring those knees back into the centre. And then take those hips slightly over to the left side. Bring the knees to the right. With that right hand, grab a hold of that left toe. Straighten that left leg out as much as you can while you're still holding on to that foot. But if that feels too much, maybe take the ankle or the shin. Take the gaze towards that left hand. Try and relax that shoulder down towards the mat. Pushing the left heel away, the left toes back to the shins. Full rotation of that spine. Detoxifying all those bad toxins. And bringing some more good toxins into that space. Then bring a bend back into that left knee. Bring the knees back into the centre. Bring the bum into the middle of the mat. Bring the knees into the chest. Give those knees a squeeze. Make circles with the knees on the ceiling in one direction. And take those circles to the opposite way. Bring those knees back into the chest. And release the feet to the floor. Send them long to the ends of the mat. Let the feet drop out to the side. Let the palms face up. Take a little rock of the hips from side to side. Maybe a turn of the head in one direction. Back through centre, over to the other side. Bring it back into the centre. Take a long breath in. Long breath out. Relax the forehead, the jaw. Let the tongue drop away from the roof of the mouth, the lips gently part. Let everything from the head down to the fingertips, down to the toes relax. Let the floor support the body. Let the breath be its own natural, automatic breath. Starting to bring some attention back to the fingers and the toes, maybe give them a little bit of a wriggle. Maybe bring some rotation into the wrists and the ankles. If you wish to take a full body stretch, stretching the hands up and over the head, maybe interlacing the fingers, turning the palms away from you, arching the back, pointing through the toes. Take a nice big long yawn. And bringing the hands back up and over the head. Bring the knees into the chest. Maybe have a little rock from side to side. Then rolling over onto your side, make a pillow with the hands. Take a couple of long, deep breaths here, in through the nose. Long sigh out through the mouth. And making your way into a seated position, keeping those eyes closed, those heads slightly bowed. Nice and tall through the spine, but relax through the shoulders. Bring the hands onto the top of the thighs. Bring the chin in towards the chest. Roll the left ear to the left shoulder. Bring it back through centre. Right ear to right shoulder. And back to the centre. Interlace the fingers behind the back of the head. Allow the head to bow. Let the arms stretch in the neck. Let elbows point down to the floor. Then release the hands to the chest. Soft gaze down towards the floor. Have peace in your thoughts, your words, your hearts. From my heart to yours, Namaste.